Psychology says people who habitually anticipate the needs of everyone around them before their own are often misunderstood as simply being too nice, selfless, or being a people pleaser. But if you constantly feel responsible for other people's emotional states, this isn't a personality quirk, it is a trauma response. You likely feel a physical wave of anxiety when you have to say no, as if setting a boundary is actually dangerous. And in the context of your childhood, it probably was. Renowned psychotherapist and trauma researcher Pete Walker identifies this behavior not as weakness, but as the Fawn Response. It is the fourth, often overlooked sibling to fight, flight, and freeze. Evolutionary biology explains that you aren't broken or a pushover. Your nervous system is actually highly advanced. It learned to survive by becoming a chameleon, merging with the needs of the threat to avoid harm. You possess a high-speed processor for reading human behavior that most people don't have. But to understand why you can't just turn it off, we have to look at the specific dynamic that installed this software in your brain. It usually starts with a concept researchers call parentification. This happens when the roles in the household are reversed. Instead of the parent mirroring the child's emotions to help them regulate, the child is forced to monitor the parent's volatile moods to maintain safety. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology suggests that when a child is raised in an environment where love is conditional, given only when you are good or quiet or helpful, the child learns to repress their true self. You learned very early on that having needs was a burden to the adults around you. So, you killed the part of you that had needs. You became an expert at reading micro-expressions. You knew that a slammed door or a heavy sigh meant you needed to make yourself invisible or useful immediately. However, realizing you were parentified explains the origin, but it doesn't explain the crushing exhaustion you feel today as an adult. That comes down to the biological cost of this survival strategy. Because your brain is stuck in that childhood setting, your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, classifies a friend's disappointment or a boss's criticism as a life or death threat. You aren't just worried about upsetting people. Your body is flooding you with cortisol as if you are being hunted. You engage in what psychologists call anticipatory anxiety. You are constantly scanning the room, trying to solve problems that haven't happened yet, just to ensure the atmosphere remains calm. You are managing the emotional temperature of every room you walk into, and it is draining your life force. Now, while this hypervigilance is exhausting, it actually hides a profound psychological strength that most people overlook. This dangerous trauma has inadvertently given you a superpower: empathic accuracy. Because you spent decades studying human behavior to survive, you now have an almost psychic ability to understand what people need, often before they know it themselves. You are intuitive, observant, and deeply connected to the human condition. The goal isn't to stop being empathetic, it's to stop using your empathy as a shield. When you start to validate your own inner child, telling that little version of you that it is safe to be seen, safe to take up space, and safe to disappoint people, you don't lose your kindness. You transform from a terrified servant into a conscious leader. You go from fawning to truly connecting. Your sensitivity is not a defect. It is high-definition emotional intelligence, waiting to be used for your benefit, not just everyone else's. You aren't broken. You are just a survivor who is ready to put down the heavy shield. If this resonated with you, and you're ready to reclaim your energy, drop a power hand emoji in the comments to show you're done fighting battles that aren't yours. If you love deep, research-based psychology content like this, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next breakthrough.